Welcome to session 7 about aromatic wines. Aromatic wines are the varietals that show a lot of fruit character. There are many different styles of aromatic wines, from Sauvignon Blancs from New Zealand to the wines we will be discussing today. A fact, however, is wine connoisseurs love aromatic wines because they pair so great with food. Classically, these wines are known for tropical fruit, exotic flowers, and perfume-like characteristics. These lovely aromas are not only there, but they greet you by jumping out of the glass to say hello. We will start today's session in the home of aromatic wines, Alsace, which is located in the east of France. Here we will be looking at the appellation system and labeling terms such as late harvest. Of the 7 different varietals in Alsace, we will be discussing 3: Riesling, gewurstraminer, and pinot gris. Together with pinot gris, we will be looking at pinot grigio, which is actually the same grape, but made in a non-aromatic style. Other aromatic grapes do exist, but these will not be discussed in this session. We will also be looking at these varietals' most important regions around the world. Alsace. Alsace is located in the northeast of France. This area has been fought over with Germany for centuries, but after the Second World War it has belonged to France. The climate in Alsace is cool to moderate and continental, and is in fact the driest place in all of France. Because of the exceptional level of sunshine hours, the grapes here manage to ripen to very high levels. Like in Burgundy, the vineyards are split up into very small producers. For that reason, 80% of the wines come from négociants or cooperatives. These are of particularly high quality, the most famous of which is Trimbach. Like in Burgundy, there is no IGP designation for Alsace. The Alsace AOC covers white, red, and rosé wines and outlines the wine laws that must be followed. The 2 other AOCs in Alsace are Crémant d'Alsace AOC, which is used for sparkling wine. The last AOC in Alsace is Alsace Grand Cru AOC for the finest still wines. Here other appellation terms are also used. These include terms such as Vendange tardive, VT, meaning late harvest. This will further indicate the style and aromas of the wines, as these wines are able to obtain higher ripeness levels. The style of wine produced here vary from dry to sweet. Grape varieties. As previously mentioned, today our focus are on the 3 grapes, Riesling, Pinot Gris, and gewurstraminer. But Muscat, Pinot Blanc, Sylvaner, and Pinot Noir are all found in Alsace. These can form part of blends or can be found as single varietals on the labels. Alsace is very much a white wine producing area, but a bit of Pinot Noir for red wine production is found here too. Late harvest terms. Along with the AOC labeling terms, there are other labeling terms such as Vendange tardive. VT or Vendange tardive, meaning late harvest, is normal to find on the labels in Alsace. This indicates the style and aromas of the wines, as these wines are able to obtain higher ripeness levels, which equals higher sugar levels. These wines can be fermented dry, but are often found as off-dry or sweet wines. On the Trimbach label, to the right, you can see Vendange tardive mentioned. In this case, the wine is fermented dry. This we can see because of the high alcohol level of 13.5% ABV, which indicates that the wine was fermented dry. There is no official requirements to indicate sweetness level in these wines, so keep an eye on the alcohol level to avoid disappointment. Another term common in Alsace is sélection de grains nobles. This indicates that the grapes are affected with noble rot, also known as botrytis. These wines are always sweet and give intense aromas of dried apricot and orange marmalade. This can only be found in great vintages and are very expensive. Other areas which produce similar wines include Sauternes or Tokaj in Hungary. Riesling. The first varietal we will be discussing in detail today is Riesling. This grape in particular is not that popular with consumers, something wine lovers around the world can find hard to understand. Riesling is at its best in cool climates and is famous for retaining high levels of acidity. In Alsace, Germany and USA, this is often balanced with residual sugar in the wine, creating an off-dry wine. Riesling always have pronounced fruit flavors, and in Europe it has great aging potential as well. With age, it shows smoky honey and petrol notes. Petrol notes only shows in the very best and comes after 7 to 10 years of bottle aging. Because of the great fruit character, Riesling is never oaked. In cool climates, Riesling shows apple and stone fruit character. This is in places such as Mosel in Germany. In Australia, this is combined with a distinct lime flavor. These wines are light if fermented dry, but often have a bit of body due to residual sugar left in the wine, making them off-dry. In moderate climates, these wines can be anything from medium to full-bodied and shows characters of orange and grapefruit, melon and stone fruit. Because of the residual sugar typically left in the wines, these wines also have honeyed notes, even if they are not aged. There are a range of other important Riesling regions in the world. One of the absolute best is Mosel in Germany. Wines from here are often fermented dry and are amongst the most expensive Rieslings in the world. The states of Washington and Oregon in the USA have had significant success in recent years with off-dry Riesling. This can be attributed to the sweet palate of many Americans, but these wines are also popular around the world, which attributes to the great wines produced here. Clare and Eden Valley in Australia are famous for having a distinct lime note in their Rieslings, which pair exceptionally well when lime is present in food dishes. The South Africans do not want to be left out here either. Here in the land of Nelson Mandela, at the very south tip of Africa, Walker Bay makes some very fine examples of off-dry Riesling. New Zealand's wine district of Marlborough also makes some great dry to off-dry Riesling, but do not forget the aromatic king of Marlborough, Sauvignon Blanc. Because Sauvignon from here are unoaked, they keep their fruit character and are highly aromatic too. Gewürztraminer. Have a guess which grape is probably the most aromatic of them all. Yep, you guessed it. Gewürztraminer. This wine is made in examples from dry to sweet, but even dry version can appear off-dry because of its very aromatic characteristics. Gewürztraminer grows in cool to moderate climate with some of the best examples coming from Alsace. The grape variety is notorious for very high sugar levels and give wines of very high alcohol levels too. Unlike many other wines grown in cooler climates, gewurstraminer does not retain much acidity. As the other aromatic wines, this is never oaked to preserve the natural aromas in the wine. The varietal is famous for distinct aromas of lychee and rose petals, along with passion fruit and floral notes. Other gewürztraminer regions. Gewürztraminer grows in the same areas as Riesling and Sauvignon Blanc. Northern Italy, Sonoma County, Washington State, Oregon State, along with Eden and Clare Valley. Whereas many grape varieties alter their characteristics around the world, the tropical fruit and lychee aromas carries gewürztraminer around the world. Pinot Gris versus Pinot Grigio. When talking about these grapes, it is important to know that they are in fact one and the same. The difference is that in France the grape is called Pinot Gris and in Italy Pinot Grigio. What has developed from this is two distinct styles of wines associated with the spelling. Pinot Gris is always off-dry and made in a so-called Alsatian style. The grapes here are harvested when they are ripe and because of their residual sugar are often full-bodied in style. Whilst the body is big and heavy, the acidity is low to medium because the wines are not fermented dry. The alcohol level is also low to medium. These sumptuous wines show tropical fruit notes like melon and mango, and good wines add great complexity with age. Wines around the world made in this style with this grape variety spell the varietal as Pinot Gris. On the other hand, we have Pinot Grigio, which is not associated as a aromatic grape. This Italian style is always dry with medium to high acidity. In Italy, the grape is harvested early before it has reached full ripeness. In that way, it retains its freshness and stays light. Because it is harvested early, the grapes never get to develop the tropical fruit flavors, but develop green apple and citrus aromas instead. This is much like the lighter style wines of Northern Europe. Wines made in this style throughout the world label the varietal as Pinot Grigio. This way it is easy to know what style of wine you have in front of you. Pinot Gris or Pinot Grigio is slowly seeing a rise in popularity throughout the world. Especially the dry Italian style is popular and follows an extreme demand from consumers for this light, pleasant wine. The most important areas are currently Germany, Australia, and particularly California, where Pinot Grigio is being planted more and more. Aromatic wines and food. Aromatic wines are simply fantastic with food. Because they vary in style, you can find a wine for almost any dish. The off-dry wines go excellent with spicy foods and therefore are perfect matches for East Asian dishes. Aromatic wines are simply fantastic with food. Because they vary in style, you can find a wine for almost any dish. The off-dry wines go excellent with spicy foods and therefore are perfect matches for East Asian dishes. This is because their low alcohol act as a cooling effect compared to high alcohol wines which act as a burning effect when paired with chili. Spicy flavored fish is a treat with an Alsatian pinot gris. For sushi and umami flavored dishes, gewurstraminer is the perfect match. Another positive note for the off-dry wines is that they pair great with foods containing a slight sweetness. This is found in many foods and roast vegetables and dishes such as foie gras. Dry aromatic wines such as the Riesling found in Mosel, Germany, are great with traditional European cuisine. Because of their high acidity, they are fantastic pairings with acidic and creamy sauces served with fish, chicken, or pork. Summary. Today we have talked about some of the world's most exciting wines. The aromatic wines which have their origin in Alsace. These fruit-forward wines are found in a variety of styles from dry to sweet. Diverse styles of light green fruit to tropical fruit and perfume can be found in these wines. We have learned about the meaning of vendange tardive, late harvest, and how this style of wine shows riper fruit flavors than others. We briefly talked about botrytis wines, which we will cover further during our sweet wine session. We discussed the difference in style from Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio, the former Alsatian off-dry style versus the crisper, lighter Italian style. Finally, we looked at how to pair these great wines with food. Sweeter wines with spicy or sweet food, dry wines with classic European cuisine such as pan-fried fish with acidic or creamy sauces. That is all we have in this session on aromatic wines. Hopefully you'll get to enjoy an off-dry Riesling with your favorite spicy food soon. Until then, best of luck with your wine tests.